Hello folks, today we're looking at the SER diagram 1328 4-plank coal wagon. I've previously said in this series I was going to live stream the whole thing. I'm sorry, I lied. There's a lot of painting and support removal and just things like that to do on this model that frankly aren't that interesting to watch. If you do need some info on that, please go and look at one of my other videos or look at someone else's for painting, because I'm not very good at that. And there are people who can explain these things in a much more entertaining way than me. So this is just going to be a short-ish video on the build of this wagon. First thing to do is the support removal. I'm going to do this in the normal way, which is pair of pliers in near but not touching the body, and just give it a twist and you should hear a click. Like that. Go around all the way and complete that. The other way to do it, particularly near detailed parts, is to get some clippers or flush cuts like this and actually cut the support and then work up from there. The issue with this, particularly with this pair, because it's quite blunt, is that, I don't know if you can see here, but where I've cut that one, if I try it again here, it breaks, has a tendency to break the whole thing, although it actually didn't on that one. Let's do it properly. There we go. So if you saw a section pinged out here, that's the issue with doing it this way. If you are particularly worried about it, you can also file or sand through further down and just sand them back. It takes a little bit longer, but you get a nice finish doing it that way. So I'm going to get on with that in double time. All the bits have now been separated from the support material, so we have the main body here. Hopefully the autofocus works and you can see some of this. You can see an area here where there was a bit of a diagonal line, so you can see the white areas where I've just sanded that down a little bit. This is the sort of thing that's fairly common on these, so you'll probably have to do something similar. This is a pre-production model, so it also has a little hole in here. I don't know whether you can see that. But yes, we can see the 3 mounting points for the side, holes in each end for the coupling hooks, and the NEM pockets there. We've got the 2 sides as well, almost identical, except this one also has the brake on it. So this is a part where you have to be very careful removing it from the support material. I had to, I don't know whether you could see it in the speeded up footage, but I had to sort of file through some of the supports further away, sort of about here somewhere, remove the rest of the supports and then file back the support material that's still attached to here. So I've done some sanding back of these as well. I've run along the top here to get the top edge nice and straight, and the same along the back here, basically to make the interfaces with this part nice and flat. So I've done the same thing on this. I've sanded along this edge here and just up against those support parts there. So the next thing to do, I think, is stick a bit of primer on this, and then we can get into painting and assembly. In the time since the previous cut, we've done some painting, done some transfer work, and glued in the bearings on the back of the wheels. So if we have a quick look at this, see if it will focus. Put some transfers on there. And I've just done that so that I can varnish it all without having the wheels in place, just in case that gums up the wheels at all. You don't have to do it in that order, do it in whatever order you like. Anyway, next point is to start fitting these wheels. Done the body as well and done some sort of detail painting and fitted the coupling hooks on the end as well. Hopefully that looks passable. So yes, wheels. These are Alan Gibson code something or other that I can't remember, but they're the 14mm Mansell wheels, not the 12mm ones. These wagons had, or the express version of these wagons, which is what I've modelled, had the larger wheels. So, first job, you'll see the bottom of this wagon has a few modifications. This is the pre-production unit. The production ones will have these modifications already. So, that slots in there, hopefully. And you'll see it rests against 3 points there, there and there. And there's a little bit of a cutout here to allow the top of the wheel tread to just clear the bottom of the wagon floor. So all we're going to do is stick a dot of super glue in that corner, just on the back of there, and in that corner. Just hold one side in while it dries. Now again, this is the point where we find out whether I've mastered the speed up the video tool or not. I'm going to stick a drop on there, one in that corner. I'm going to stick a couple of drops in between as well. I've only transferred one side because I'm, well, a little bit lazy and a little bit cheapskate. And this is actually just a pre-production wagon. So I'm just going to do that, push that up against the edge, push that up in the middle as well, and hopefully this will stick nicely without sticking too much of me to it. It's worth trying to, I don't know how well this is going to come out on the video, but you need to try and keep that the sole bar and the W irons vertical as well, which they should do because of the way it's been modelled, but sometimes there's little sort of deviations in the face features and so on. So hopefully that will have stuck, which it has. Sorry, that's not on the video, is it? About there. I don't know if you can see there. Just there, there's a little tiny gap where I've modified it between the sole bar and the wagon. I'm just going to drop some black paint in there from the back in a little while after I've done this. And yeah, we can see that's fairly vertical as well. I'm just going to bring my light a bit further forward and stop some of the shadows. Yes. So we can see that's more vertical as well. Then we come to the slightly fiddly bit of actually putting the wheels in. Best technique I've found for this so far, but by no means the only technique, is to drop the side that we've already glued in, push them sort of back as far this way as they will go, drop the bearings in from this side, sort of hold it in the middle, check it spins freely, which this does. Hold the ends in, check it spins freely again. So I need to put a little bit, tiny bit less pressure on this with my thumb, because it just sort of locks up the wheels a little bit if I do. But again, that clearance will have been tested in the production version of this CAD. And then the same thing again, we've tested it fits. So I'm just going to pull that out, drop some glue in the right places. And the little blobs of glue I'm putting in the middle are to try and stop that slight issue we saw on this side where there's a little tiny gap between the body and the chassis. So let's drop that in, push that down, just check the wheels still rotate nicely, that's okay. That one, just adjusted the pressure before the superglue sets fully. There we go, that should be fine. What I'll do later is add a little strip of weight down here as well, just to help that run properly. But it's fairly free, so it should be okay. Just hold that on there, wait for it to dry. See if my editing skills are up to speeding this bit up. And hopefully I haven't stuck myself to this side either. I'll have a little bit. There we go. Right. So there we have it, one complete dish wagon. The wheels still turn nice and freely. Chassis is pretty flat. That seems to roll okay. So there's a few last bits to do. We need to fit the brake handle. You can see the brake here, there's a little bit at the top. So the pivot is here. We need to fit the handle that goes from here to over here somewhere, and the little support for it. And we also need to drop the couplings into the NEM pockets. So let's get on with that. The idea here is that we'll be able to fit normal NEM couplings, so I've just got a packet of generic, actually not very generic ones. Let's grab one of those. Now the fit should be very slightly loose, so let's drop that in. Just squeeze the end a little bit and give it a shove. Drops in, clips in nicely, and is just shy of the wheel there. So that's worked out rather well. I don't know if I'll be able to get that one out. The only thing you may have to contend with is, let's see if we can show you this. Sorry, I keep putting things off screen, I'm not very good with this whole knowing where the camera is thing yet. No, you can't quite see. So in here, there's a little tiny bit of support material. So I'm just going to try and break that out. This may or may not be on the production ones, it depends how I support them. I haven't done that bit yet. So there we go, just cleared that bit out. We should be able to stick another coupling in the other end. I'm not going to bother doing that because I haven't got very many spare at the moment. So, next bit, brake handle. This is 1mm by 0.5mm plastic strip. Just some that I had left over. You can use other sizes, whatever you like really. Use brass strip or something else if you're a bit fancy. So the brake handle itself needs to be 27mm long. I've just taken these dimensions straight off the drawing for these. That is 27. And the brake support needs to be 9mm. So let's cut one of those. Again, you could also model, so the brake lever, if this is the brake lever, it will often come with a support that sits around it like this. I'm just modelling the front because to me that looks good enough for a layout. If you want to put a bit more detail in it, you can model the whole thing around the back as well. But I'm not going to do that for now. So the main brake lever will sit on this pivot point here. and the end finishes sort of just under the tear number here. Give it a slight angle up, and then your support will sit just in front of that essentially. So going up to the top of the, or to the bottom plank here, and sit under it like that, if you can see that. I don't know. Anyway, let's start sticking that together. The other thing I'm going to do is just round off the end slightly, because the handles were usually round on these things, as far as I can tell from photos anyway. Right, so that will do. I need to find a super glue with a finer tip nozzle, because this tends to get stuff everywhere, which doesn't look very nice. So you have to be very careful applying it. I keep applying things off camera, stop doing that. Anyway, give that a dab on there, a very small dab. Drop that end on, and then I might have to use the tweezers for this. Just give that slight angle upwards. I'll try not to move it around too much. It's not liking it. I want that end to tuck up just there. That will do. There we go, it's very slightly angled. I'm going to give that a second or two to harden up. And to get rid of some of my tea. And then if I can spot where I put the support part, there it is. Now on this wagon, that goes just this side of the iron. Let's see if I can get the drawing out. So, let's have a quick look at the drawing. So we're looking at this version of the wagon, the express version, and you can see it fits just here. So maybe 2/3 of the way between these two sections of iron. So let's try and drop that in. Again, I'm using super glue for this because this is resin. It might look and feel quite a lot like injection molded plastic, but it is resin, so your normal sort of solvent-based plastic glues don't tend to work too well on it. So I'm just going to sort of put a stripe of glue out the back of that. And try and position it accurately, which is not straightforward. There we go, I reckon that's about right. Again, hold it for a few seconds, make sure everything's stuck. And because I put that stripe on, hopefully it's now stuck to this and to this. There we go. So hopefully you can see what that looks like. And again, if I was a better modeller, I would model the bit that sort of comes back underneath and back up the other side as well. But from normal viewer distances, you're probably not going to notice that. So next job, paint that black. And then I think we're pretty much done. Well, this is the final summing up bit where we actually see if it's actually any good. So you can see I've painted the brake sections now. I'm just testing this with a 9V battery. It seems to run pretty free. Couplings all line up. So that works. So there we go. That's it for this series on this wagon. Hopefully you've enjoyed it or it's been interesting. Either or, don't have to be both. And yes, if you're interested in getting hold of one of these wagons, do have a look in the description of this video where there's a link to my website. If you're watching this video as soon as it goes up, they might not be available yet. I've got a few minor tweaks left to do. But keep an eye on that website, they will be there eventually. So thanks for watching, hope you found it interesting.